Hey there everyone, today I'm going to show you how to install 2Ship2 Harkinian. This is one of two PC ports for The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This is going to be the decompiled version, and is going to have quite a few features with it. This is going to be how to install version 1.1.2, the newest version going into 2025. If you want to skip to a certain section, I will have the video timestamped for certain things. We're going to first download the game and just get it running and get a base playable version going. And then after that, I'll cover how to install mods, multiple mods, texture packs, and sprinkle the game up a little bit if you want to. I'm going to leave a link to everything down in the description below that I download in this video if you want to get everything set up exactly like this. But with that, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is come to this GitHub page. This will be the downloads for 2Ship2 Harkinian, and you're going to want to scroll down to Assets. There will be 3 different versions depending on your operating system. I'm using Windows 11. Windows 10 will be the exact same setup, and then you have your Linux and Mac versions. So let's go ahead and download the Windows and save it to whatever you want. I've got this prepared for this tutorial so that we can go on ahead and install it. Next up, go to wherever you installed it. I have a few things in here. You can ignore most of these for now. The main thing to note is this right here is what we just installed, the 2Ship, and you're going to need a ROM of Majora's Mask. You're going to want a .z64 for the version 1.0 release of the game. I can't show you where to get the ROM, but you can dump it, which is what you should do, but you can also find it on the internet, but that would be piracy. However, I'm also not your mom, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. So, do what you will. So, we're going to go on ahead and extract this folder. Just right-click it, click Extract All, and click Extract. That will get us 2Ship running, or at least to where we can open it. This will take a second. It usually does for me, so I'll be back once it's done. Alright, so once the extractions process finished, you'll have your zip folder and your regular one. At this point, you can just go on ahead and delete the zip folder so it's not taking up space on your computer, and we can go on ahead and navigate into it. However, I will recommend you to take your ROM from Majora's Mask and put it inside of the 2Ship folder. So Satoko Charlie is the version 1.1.2. They all have different names, but this will mostly be the same process even after future updates. So go on ahead and navigate into it and make sure the ROM file's in there, and all we have to do at this point is launch 2ship.exe. Windows will protect your PC, probably just click more info and run anyway, and you'll get this pop-up saying no O2R files found, generate one now. So there's a 2ship.o2r in here, but we need to generate the Majora's Mask O2R, so we're going to hit yes, and if the ROM is in here, it will say the ROM's detected. If it's not, you'll have to find it wherever you installed it and then just load it up. Hit yes, and a command prompt window will show up to, or I guess terminal, but this will show up and start compiling the game. This has to extract all of the assets and models from the game and actually, put it together for this new PC port, as they kind of can't distribute the assets of the game, even if all of the code and logic is custom. So just give this a minute. Eventually, it's probably going to start giving you different messages. You'll notice stuff about pointers. Don't worry about it. It will install just fine all the way through to the end. It just takes a little bit. Yeah, see, it's going to start having some of these messages. So I will be back once this is done, or really, it's probably, nope, there it is. Yeah, eventually it'll look like this. So I'll be back once it's all done, but it will install just fine even if you're seeing this kind of stuff. Eventually, you'll see this screen, it'll finish up, and there we go. The first thing I'm going to make sure I do is actually turn down the game's volume, because it starts off really loud. But yeah, this is the game we are in. So if you hit F1, you can pull up this toolbar. If you hit F11, you can enter full screen. I'm going to stay in windowed mode, though, just to save me some time. So on the title screen, if your controller's connected or not connected or whatever, get a controller connected. And the first thing you're going to want is to actually get it working. So we're going to go to controller mapping. I'm going to be using a Switch Pro controller, but this does support Xbox One and Series X controllers, DualShock 4s, and DualSenses just fine. You can bind things to whatever you want. However, I'm going to recommend changing specifically the C buttons. I recommend making the R or C down. I recommend making your right bumper, then C left. I recommend your left face button, or your west one. Yeah, west face button. So Y on a Switch Pro controller, X on Xbox controller, square on a DualSense, and then your north face button for C right. C up, do whatever. I like pressing on the right stick. But this is a pretty good configuration for everything. If you just want like a general mapping, but map it to however fits best for you, play around with it a bit in game. But the main things to point out is the additional right stick. We're going to want this to use the free camera. So go on ahead and map your right stick to it, and you should get that. And you can adjust sensitivities as you want. Rumble, if you want to play with that on, it should automatically be bound, but you can adjust the sensitivity as well. If you're playing with a Switch Pro controller, DualShock 4, or DualSense, you might want to play with gyro aim. Just click Add Gyro Device, press any button on your controller, and the gyro will be bound just fine. And you can also adjust sensitivity. And that's it. We are good to roll. But one thing I am going to do is I brought my saves folder with me, so I'm actually going to have to relaunch the game real quick. But when you make a new save file, you'll have this saves folder generated. I'm just doing this so that I can boot into a file and not have to sit through the intro cutscene, so I can show you guys things. But yeah, we are in game now. If you want to just get playing, you can do so at this point. However, I am going to show you a few things that you're going to want to know immediately. Go down to enhancements, and we're going to want to come to the camera, and you're probably going to want to turn on free look and gyro aim if you want to have that on in your controls. This will give you a free cam that was not in the game originally, and you can invert the axes and adjust the sensitivity on all this as you wish. You can also use the right stick to aim if you want to, so like for the bow, for example, this is the right stick, this is the gyro, stuff like that. So if you want any of this on, inversions, sensitivities, just some stuff to point out about the camera. And we're also going to want to look at the settings. So we already took a look at controller mapping within settings. Audio, if you want to adjust different audio levels for everything, I would recommend doing so. It will probably help you out. And I'm actually going to lower just about everything. And graphics. This is probably the one you're going to want to pay attention to the most, because you'll want to bump up the resolution. You'll want... Okay, well, I should probably explain this a little bit. So resolution, you probably want it to render a little higher than the internal base resolution. This will just scale it up. Pretty much any computer should be able to handle the game at full resolution. Even like basic laptops. I ran this on my like 6-year-old school laptop just fine, and it worked. So it should work on just about anything. Turn up the anti-aliasing to whatever you want to smoothen out those sharp edges. If you're getting performance issues, I would recommend turning this down first. If you're still getting them, maybe turn down the resolution, because you're really going to want to focus on that frame rate. The game has a 20 FPS frame rate by default, but you can turn this all the way up to 360. I recommend just matching your refresh rate and leaving it at that. That way you're getting the highest frame rate you can. But if you're playing at higher frame rates, maybe adjust the jitter fix a little bit. If you're getting some other issues, maybe swap your rendering API to OpenGL, but DirectX should be just fine. And then I recommend enabling VSync just so it matches your monitor's refresh rate, even though you already did that. This will just help prevent screen tearing. I don't recommend altering the texture filtering. The N64 used 3-point texture filtering by default, so I'd actually recommend this, but if you want to change it, you can. And that is just about everything you're going to need for running the game just fine. But if you want the HUD to look different, I recommend making it a widescreen HUD. If you want to adjust it further, you can move individual items as much as you want. I'm not going to do that too much in this, but you can also adjust their scale. This will break these usually in custom texture mods, but you can do it if you want to. but most people will probably be fine with turning it on to widescreen and leaving it at that. Although I kind of like to get some of these like further down and out of the way and maybe adjust the scale a little bit personally. You can mess with that as you wish. You cannot change the color of these yet, but that's something that will probably be here at some point. And that is pretty much it. So if you just want to play the game, this is a great jumping off point. However, from here, we're going to install some mods. So let's go on ahead and do that. There's a lot more features that I'm going to go over in the menus, but I'll go over those after the texture packs. So the first thing I'm going to show is the HD texture pack. This is Majora's Mask Reloaded, made by Ghostly Dark. This is, to my knowledge, the only major texture pack supported by Ship of Harkinian for now. But Neryl's will probably be here eventually, although I think Neryl worked on this one quite a bit too. I'm not entirely sure. But this will be on Evil Games. Make sure you click to ship to Harkinian right here. You don't want N64 or Dolphin. And then you have a 4K and an HD version if your computer can handle the 4K textures, or you have a higher resolution monitor than 1080p. I recommend 4K. Otherwise, I recommend the HD ones. These will be perfect for 1080p, and is actually what I'm going to use for this tutorial because I didn't want the install to take as long beforehand. So just go ahead, click on whichever one you want, and save it to where you need. But I have it right here. So go on ahead, extract it. It'll take a second, but once that is done, it'll generate a folder. So I'll be back once it is done. Okay, once it's done, you can delete the zip file, and you are going to want to just grab this O2R that is contained within the folder, and we are going to move it around a little bit. This is going to go into your to-ship folder, and you're going to want to drop it into the mods folder. So this is where you're going to put any custom O2R files you download. So this is where texture packs are going to go. It's just the one file, and then you can delete the empty folder afterwards if you want to. And I'm also going to cover this controller HUD thing. This isn't really necessary, but I needed something to be a secondary mod so I can show you how mods are applied. But this is a Pro Controller mod made by Darky Knight for the various controller button types. So go on ahead, click manual download if you want this, and then download, and you can save it to wherever. But I've already saved a copy of it, so we'll go on ahead and extract this and move it into the mods folder. So we'll get that in there. And this one has a lot of options. I recommend one of the HD styles. So I go with the HD 3DS and the Switch Pro Controller, but you know, PlayStation, Xbox, you can get those moved over and just move it over to the mods directory so we can delete the rest of it from here. So the reason I wanted to show this is because if you are going to play with several texture mods, like maybe you want a specific Link model or something, you need to know how to-ship will apply these mods. Essentially, it will go down the list of mods that are in this folder and apply them in order down the list. So it'll apply whatever's first, then second, then third. If they have textures for the same thing, so like since this is a HUD mod, both of these are going to have like HUD elements in them. If I had Majora's Mask Reloaded on the bottom, then we would see Majora's Mask Reloaded HUD items. But with this, we're going to be seeing these Switch Pro Controller HUD items since it's getting applied last. So that's just the main thing to point out. So if you want these applied in a certain way, or you want your different mods to be compatible, you'll need to make sure they're in the right order. They're in the right order by default because they're alphabetized, but I recommend either putting like an A and then a dash and then, or numbering them just so you can get them in the order you want. But yeah, that will get them in the right order if they're not already. And with that, we can go on ahead and relaunch the game. That is mods and texture packs installed. However, they're not going to be on by default. If you want to have those running, you'll want to go in game, navigate to enhancements, then down to graphics, and just click use alternate assets, and there you go. There is HD Majora's Mask. So, if that's all you wanted, then you're probably good to go and play the game. However, I am going to show some other features in the menu and settings if you want to enable some of them. So we're pretty much done with the settings menu. All of it's going to be within enhancements. We already went through the camera. The cutscenes, you can skip various cutscenes, just read through these if you want to, but you can skip to file select. The intro sequence if you just want to start in Clock Town with the Deku cycle. And story cutscenes and miscellaneous stuff aren't in yet, but fun stuff. One of the main things I wanted to talk about was saving. So in Majora's Mask, you have Owl Quick Saves and you have the Song of Time. The Song of Time is your only hard save in the base game. However, you can turn on auto saves that will replace the owl saves, and you can adjust the interval of it. You can save from the pause menu, and this will be a hard save. So in Ocarina of Time, you could hit B in the pause menu and you would save just like this. Enabling this box here and having it checked will let you do this. If not, you just exit. And then this will make owl saves full on hard saves if you want to have more generous saving. You can also keep items between 3-day cycles with all of these options here. Various little things if you just want to keep rupees or whatever. But if you want to keep everything, just enable all of this, and this will just make it to where you don't have to do the Couples Mask quest twice. You got faster dialogue, and you can automatically deposit whatever rupee amount you have into the bank with these settings. Very nice features. I highly recommend enabling them. I also recommend enabling D-pad equips, as this will allow you to put items onto the D-pad, which is just a great feature, and as more item slots, it's less pausing. There's honestly no reason not to. Equipment, this really, you can mess with these if you want to, but not many options here. But this will let you charge up spin attacks with the Great Fairy Sword, which is kind of cool. Fixes will just fix certain things, but none of these are really necessary. If you want to read through what each of these do, you can do so. Graphics, we already enabled alternate assets. I like having motion blur off, but you can have it on for your frame interpolation stuff if you want to. Authentic logo, this just gets rid of some of the stuff on the game's booting. And then these are some interesting ones. So we can have the bow reticle, which will give us a reticle with the bow. But since I'm not drawing an arrow, it's not doing anything. 3D item drops, since item drops in the original game were 2D sprites, this will be very nice for some HD texture packs, so I do recommend having this on. And black bar letterboxes. So when you Z-target, you'll notice these two black bars at the top and bottom. Turn this on, they'll go away even when Z-targeting. Don't touch unstable stuff. A couple mask options. We can make the blast mask not have a cooldown. Persistent bunny hood. This is pretty fun. Just hit A right here and it'll put the bunny hood on, but honestly I think that takes longer than just leaving it bound somewhere. Fast transformation, so usually you'll have this cutscene when transforming. And this is actually the first time I'm putting on the Deku mask, I guess. But you turn this on and there you go. You can just transform quickly. Fierce DD mask anywhere if you get that, and then blast mask with powder keg force. That's a fun one, not necessary. A couple minigame options if you want to get Cremia's hug quickly, always win the doggy race to not have to bet on it, and just adjust the Swordsman Skulls minigame. All unnecessary stuff, but fun nonetheless. A couple things, you can have a mirrored world if you ever want to have a weird Master Quest version someday. Time moves when you move, so you'll notice the clock is stopped. I move around, it'll resume. Kind of nice if you want to take your time. Ignore the camera moving. Play as Cafe, so if you want to, you can play as Cafe. This was probably done because you play as him at some point in the game anyway, and it works just fine with HD texture packs since he was a model within the game, but pretty cool. You can increase your climb speed, you can come out of Deku flowers faster. Really, I don't know what any of these are really good for. A couple restorations if you want some glitches back in the game, like crouch stabbing or the infinite sword glitch from Ocarina of Time. A couple fun things here. D-pad Ocarina. I do recommend having this on, just because it's kind of hard to remember the various inputs for the Ocarina with the C buttons. This allows you to actually remember directions. So, I ended up playing something. I think I did play the Song of Healing. Oh, it actually shows these on the HUD. Huh, interesting. Dropped Ocarina inputs if you want to play really quickly. If you are playing too fast, sometimes they will be dropped, so having this on can be helpful. You can warp from the pause screen with this, so I think if we... Yeah, see, I could just warp with the pause screen. That's actually a great feature. I'm gonna probably use that when I play this game. And then Takuris are birds out in Termina Field that will steal some items. If you don't want to deal with that, you can turn this on. And a couple cheats if you want those, like moon jumping. That's a pretty fun one. And you can also stop time within dungeons. You have the option to do it just within temples or even in all of the mini dungeons throughout the game, which is pretty fun. And you have your infinity cheats. But I think that's pretty much everything. You can toggle full screen, hide the menu bar from here. Just remember you can hit F1 to hide the menu bar. But with that, we've pretty much set everything up. That's really every option that you might want enabled. So a quick rundown, things I recommend doing: turning on widescreen, D-pad equips, HD textures, maybe making the saves more generous if you want that, D-pad ocarina, free camera, gyro aim, and alter the HUD as you wish. Those are the main things. So if you want like my general recommendation rundown, that is it. But yeah, we have set everything up. Hopefully I was able to help some of you out with this video. And hopefully I didn't go too fast through some of the sections. I didn't want to have to explain every single thing, but I wanted to give a decent rundown. But yeah, appreciate you watching. Hope I helped you out. And I hope you have a fun time playing Majora's Mask on PC. So I'll see you later. Bye-bye.